I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Hmm.
No, my mic's.
I could hear you now.
Oh yeah, now?
Yeah,
Now. How about now?
I can hear you now. I don't know what you said, but I'm sure it was wonderful.
Yes, I was literally giving you credit for the health I enjoy today. So big deal. We will get into that. But yeah, just introduced you as my friend, longtime fitness and wellness pro, and so happy that you're here today because nobody that I've talked to in our WhatsApp club has heard of redox, which is the big topic that we're getting into today. But first, just great to see you.
Good to see you too. Good to see you too. I missed you when I was down in Miami last time, which was unfortunate. I was there for a really small window. And and I was just telling you I went for Cuban food there, but when you were here in Toronto last time, we went for Mexican and that place closed down.
No.
Down. They're not there anymore. I can't understand why. It's really unfortunate what's happening with vegan restaurants and plant-based restaurants. Some of them have been around forever, and I find it's unfortunately the junkier ones,
Mm-hmm.
right? The real comfort food that stick around a long time, but so many of them are just not making it through, unfortunately, at least up here in Canada.
And I'm trying, this is a whole nother topic for another day, but it's happening here too in Miami. Well, Planta just closed. I mean, oh,
Really
did you not know this?
did not know that.
Planta
Oh my,
filed for bankruptcy, and they very quickly closed their at least 2 out of their 3 locations here already, like really quick. And I wanted to go back for the vegan sushi like one last time, and I thought I would get it in before my birthday or for my birthday, and they had already closed. And I was like,
wow.
oh my gosh, if Planta closed, because then I was thinking maybe it's, restaurants make a lot of money on alcohol, and a lot of these small, more the vegan healthy spaces don't serve alcohol, so maybe they're not making ends meet because of that. But I don't know. And welcome to those of you, first of all, joining us live. If you can, type in the comments, let us know who you are and where you're joining from, and if vegan restaurants in your area are closing down, because it seems to be a very, very sad trend. Also curious, and we put this in the club on WhatsApp, if anybody had heard of redox signaling molecules. Redox, if you've heard of that or not, or if this is brand new to you. And everybody in the club so far said, nope, never even heard of it. So today is going to blow your mind. You're going to be so glad you're here. So jump in, say hey. And yeah, that restaurant was so good. Such a great Mexican restaurant.
But I mean, we got to support them while they're there, right? Got to support them while they're there. Try to get your Omni friends to go ahead with you. And you know what? If you do experience a little bit of that vegan comfort junk food, the food that you're not used to cooking at home, just take a little bit more redox and have that help balance it. That's not the way I run my life. That's not the way I coach people. But you know what? You got to enjoy yourself sometimes.
Yes. So I'm not totally abstained from alcohol at this point. I have a glass of wine here and there. I'm actually going to a restaurant this evening to meet a friend, and I'm going to have a spicy skinny margarita. So I'm taking a little extra redox, some signaling molecules today. So we'll get into that in a moment. But first, I guess, when it comes down to it, what I said at the very beginning, and I don't know if everyone else heard or not, but I really do thank you, Shoshana, for reaching out to me on Instagram when I guess I disclosed that I think it was that I disclosed that I had Hashimoto's disease.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, and since being diagnosed with Hashimoto's, it was like so many people came out of the woodwork and said, I've got Hashimoto's, or my mother has Hashimoto's, or whatever it was. And I was like, I had never heard of that autoimmune disorder before. But for those of you who don't know, it's an autoimmune disease that attacks your body, attacks your own thyroid gland. So at first, you might not experience many symptoms, but eventually you do start to experience symptoms. And eventually what they told me was that it's incurable. You cannot reverse it, that no matter how great you do with your diet and exercise and all the lifestyle choices that you make, that it's going to progressively get worse year after year until eventually your thyroid will shut down and you will be on thyroid medication for the rest of your life. So that was my prognosis. It was very hard to hear, right? Very helpless feeling for somebody who is, works so hard to be as healthy as possible and eat well and exercise and all these good things. And sure enough, my numbers each year were getting worse and worse. And yeah, I was disheartened. And Shoshana reached out and she said, I've got this protocol. Do you want to hear about it? It may be helpful. And so we're going to chat about that, what that protocol is. But long story short, I did start using the protocol. And literally 9 months, it was 9 months later, I believe. First of all, my symptoms had gotten to the point where my body just didn't feel like my own anymore. My energy had gone way down. I just didn't feel like myself in my body. I couldn't train quite the same. I was sluggish. I just didn't feel great. And yeah, 9 months later, I switched endocrinologist, went to a new endocrinologist. I was like, yeah, I'm here for a follow-up. I have Hashimoto's disease. He's like, okay, let's order your blood work. Went back in for the follow-up. And he's like, what, you don't have Hashimoto's disease. I was like, yes, I do. I hate to tell you, but yes, I do. No, you have no markers for Hashimoto's disease. And that was the only thing I changed was this protocol. So, whether we can say whatever claims we can make, but I know what worked for me and just the energy that came back within a few weeks of starting it. So yeah, so thank you. Thank you for reaching out and getting on the phone with me and sharing this life-changing information.
You're welcome. And what I could say to you is thank you for being opening to listen, because a lot of people aren't, especially a lot of people in our situations where we're plant-based. We coach other people in fitness. We coach other people on what to eat. We've helped other people do the most amazing things in this world. And I was in the same place myself, and I could share a little bit about that after, but I, not with Hashimoto's, but I was in a place with my health where I was like, I don't get it. I'm plant-based. I meditate, I exercise, I surround myself with good people. I'm doing all the pillars. I could get these amazing results with other people. Why aren't I healing myself? And for a long time, I think I had a little bit of a big chip on my shoulder, a little bit of an ego. And I'm like, but I already know all the answers. I just need to find an answer of what I know. But what I needed to know is that we don't know what we don't know until we know it. So that's number one. Number two, let me give a disclaimer. Because of the governing powers above, I am not allowed to say that these protocols that we'll talk about today can reverse or prevent any diseases. But we could check numbers, we can see symptoms melt away, and we see things improve because the body is being given the power to do it itself. And that is what I'm allowed to say. Can you heal? Can you prevent? Yes, it's the body's power to do it when we put more of what we actually have that's supposed to do that in the first place back in. And, I think that when you talked also before about the Hashimoto's, because we've heard before cardiovascular disease is not reversible. Diabetes, type 2 diabetes is not reversible. But being in the plant-based world, again, we've seen that happen over and over and over again. So to be plant-based and to be so strict with your diet and lifestyle to try to overcome something and not get those results, it's really hard. It's really hard on a lot of levels. Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true. And I think also, I think it's really important to remember that we live in this world where there's a lot we do not have control over. Mm-hmm. We live in a very polluted world, and just the air we breathe, we got to breathe, and we can't always pick and choose what air we're breathing, right? We can't always choose what water we're drinking, how much we can filter out from water, and the microplastics that are everywhere in everything in the clothes that we wear. And we're just bombarded.
Yeah. If there's mold in the wall, if there's asbestos in our gym. And not only what we're doing today, which I think was the biggest part of my problem personally, is, you know, people say like, oh, but you eat so well. It's not that you are what you eat. You are what you absorb from the environment in general and what you absorbed. So for me, being on antibiotics 6 to 12 times a year for the first 35 years of my life, that still impacts me today, right? That still impacted me 8 years ago when I was sleeping 16 hours a day, couldn't get out of bed, couldn't read a simple letter that said, send colored pencils to school for your child tomorrow, falling asleep at the wheel, unable to work. It wasn't just what I was doing at that moment. It was all these other environmental and otherwise toxins that I had taken in my whole entire life, that we have a toxic load. And that's emotional stress too. We have a toxic load. And when we hit that max and it begins to overflow, the counter gets really, really wet. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about this. So you shared just a little overview of your own story. But before we do, those of you who have watched this show, oftentimes we do our Standing Like a Tree segment, which we still haven't named yet. So the first few times we did it, so if you haven't watched the episode, it was episode number 3 with Fred Holt. He explains what this Standing Like a Tree meditation is. Have you ever done this before, Shoshana?
I have not. No.
Okay. So in Tai Chi, one of the most popular kind of standing meditations, and we'll do it seated because we're seated, is called Standing Like a Tree. And your goal as you stand like a tree, now we're going to do a play on this and we're going to keep talking while we're standing like a tree. But we take our arms and we are going to put them out as if you're hugging a tree. Now, a lot of the times when you do this, we'll start to tense up. And the goal here is to relax into it. So when the shoulders start to burn, you're thinking about expanding your energy. You're thinking about releasing. It's called song. It's releasing the tension. And you're going to let it kind of move through your body. So I'm going to set a timer, and for you guys watching, and I know a few people did it with us the first few times we've done this. So we're going to do it for 15 minutes as we continue to talk. Now, no, ego, we always want ego. Think about ego. Don't let the ego stop you. If you need to take a break, you take a break. And as a reward for jumping back into it right away, I'm going to take a shot of redox signaling molecules, which we're going to talk about more right now. So are you ready, Shoshana, to take on this challenge?
I'm ready. And I knew this was coming. So I'm grappling with, do I put my arms down on purpose because I get to have more redox today? But my ego's like, no, must.
Ego gets involved.
Yeah.
All right, so shake it out. And if you guys want more explanation, and next week's episode is with Sifu Lester Holmes, who is Fred Holt's teacher. So he will talk about Standing Like a Tree again next week. But if you guys want to do that with us while you're listening, please feel free. I'm going to set the timer and we're going to start now. So we're just going to take the arms up. Your hands will be kind of close together, a little bit above the chest. And then you're just going to kind of let them be there. And I find this a lot easier when we're talking because you're distracted. When I'm just standing there, and I've done my max so far is 23 minutes. But when I'm just standing there and meditating and not talking to anybody or whatever, I find it a lot harder. So anyway, here we go.
All right. Okay. So before we get into it though, can I go back to another thing that you said? I just want to kind of set the stage a little bit for one of the things that redox helps to do in the body. When we have an autoimmune disease, it is exactly what you said. It is am I allowed to do my air quotes?
Yeah, you can do air quotes.
It is essentially on an easy way to understand it. It is the body attacking something it's your body attacking your body, right? Now, why is that happening? It's happening because of miscommunication, misalignment, and not being balanced enough, right? Not having homeostasis, not only in that area, but throughout the body. If you think about calling 911, for those of us who live in areas with 911, you know that when you call, they say, do you want ambulance? Do you want fire? Or do you want police? Right? And you have to choose the one that you want. So if there's a gunshot wound, God forbid, and you say police, but they send the fire department, you're going to get the wrong kind of healing to the right area. And that's not going to be very useful, right? But because there's constantly signals going and we need to bring the right healing to the right place. But let's say there's a fire and you say, I need fire. The fire truck comes with the big hose. They start to put out the fire. And when the fire's out, they need to stop. But also because of miscommunication in the body, because we're making less of this communication every 10 years as we age, just like with our mitochondria is not working as well as we age. That's natural, that's normal. But then we have all these other toxins we talked about. If we start putting out that fire and the fire's out, but the fire truck never gets the message, hey, the fire's out, stop spraying, too much of a good thing becomes a bad thing, because before you know it, the whole building falls down because it's soaking wet and something bad has happened. So the whole autoimmune disease in the body is not just the body's attacking itself for no good reason. It's one of the biggest reasons is there's lack of proper communication throughout the body, because we're aging, because we're exposed to too much in life. And we also have a lot of if you try to make a phone call from your basement, I mean, there's no basement in Florida, but if you try to make a phone call from a basement or a concrete building and you don't have good reception, messages don't get through. So we have, all these things that all the medications we've taken in life, old dead inflammation, surgeries, all different kinds of things going on in our body. And if our body hasn't properly detoxed it out because it just got too overwhelmed and it pushed it down instead, these are creating these concrete kind of walls throughout the body, if I were to simplify it. So we really have to find homeostasis in the body, and we need to increase our communication to be able to do that.
Okay, so we keep saying the word redox. Like, what the hell is redox?
Okay, so what is redox? Redox is something native to the body. We make it in the body. It is a signaling molecule made in our mitochondria. Our mitochondria is our powerhouse of our cell. It makes things like ATP, our body's ability to make energy. And for years and years, they thought that these redox molecules that were being made at the same time were a byproduct of ATP. Turns out, boom, they are signaling messengers throughout the body. When there's something wrong, the body sends out signals so that the right kind of healing can come. That helps with genetic expression. It helps with detecting damaged cells, repairing them or replacing them, so apoptosis. It helps with finding antigens, bacteria, all kinds of things that shouldn't be there, opening our hormonal pathways, our genetic pathways, our inflammation system, our immune system, our cardiovascular system, our gut health. Every system, every organ, every pathway in our body relies on redox molecules to survive. It is the Wi-Fi of the body, right? It's the Wi-Fi of the body. So we need stronger signals, right? Too many people using it. We need stronger signals. We need stronger signals. So these redox molecules, one of their major jobs as well is affects the health of our stem cells, our ability to repair DNA in the body, and also the body's ability to not only absorb more of the glutathione that we're taking in, but make more of its own inside the nucleus, which is huge, which universities, so there's been a whole bunch of research done, but not until they recognized how the NFR2 pathways are being affected, which is our body's ability to create glutathione, did all of these universities across the world say, hey, can we be next? We want to research redox molecules. We want to understand more. And, if you think about the list, I don't know, like the list of what illnesses are affected by low glutathione in the body. There's very few that I could think of that aren't affected by low glutathione. So we could really do so much by not just increasing glutathione and having too much excess in the body, but the body creating exactly what it needs at that time in that area of the body to create balance or homeostasis. Is that a lot? Not a lot of mouthful.
Yeah, no, it's a lot, but you're explaining it, I feel like, really pretty clearly, really, really well. Now there are glutathione supplements out there. What's the difference between taking a glutathione supplement and the other question that I would imagine, and those watching, feel free to jump in with questions. If our body already makes it, why would we need to supplement it?
Perfect. Okay. So let's start there. Remember I said that our mitochondria works less and less as we age? Okay. So as we age, on average, for a healthy person, we lose approximately 10% of our own intercellular fluid over the years. Okay. So instead of our cells looking like round, beautiful basketballs, when we're born, it peaks at puberty, then they start to become a little bit deflated. So if you have two perfectly
puberty,
after puberty, every 10 years, so by the time you're 40, 50, 60 years old, like, you're already at a disadvantage. But if you've had unhealthier kinds of lifestyles or exposed to more stress in life, toxicity in life, you're going to be on the bigger end of that 10% than the smaller end because that's like an average, right? Now, if you have two basketballs and you kind of bump them together, if they're filled and nice, they're going to just bump against each other and they're going to kind of bounce off each other, and there'll be some nice space in between them for, I don't know, fluids to go through, let's say, right? But as they start to deflate, if you push those two basketballs together, they're going to press up against each other and they're going to mold towards each other. They're going to I'm gonna have to take a shot. They're gonna mold towards each other, and there's not gonna be that space anymore. They're gonna mold into each other. Oh, I think I needed that.
Yes. How are your shoulders feeling? Did you feel
it? They're. I'm starting to feel it a little bit there, but
yeah, that's where I started to feel it first.
Yeah. So what happens is when they press up against each other, it's creating, it's not allowing fluids, it's not allowing communication throughout the body to go. And that could create pain in the body. That can create the cell's inability to hold on to oxygen. And we know what happens to cells when they don't have oxygen in them. They get very poisonous. They begin to duplicate and multiply.
I'm jealous.
Okay. Oh, okay. So our cells are becoming less deflated. Our mitochondria is not working to its fullest potential as it did at puberty. We're exposed to all of these other things. So we're not creating as much ATP. We're not creating as much redox signaling molecules to keep up with the toxicity of life and to keep up with the lifespans that we now live in the 20-somethings, right? We don't have lifespans of 50 years anymore. We're living to 80, 90, 100, but a lot of us are not living it very well, right? We're not living it very well. So when we increase our redox molecules in the body and we take in more redox molecules, we're inflating our cells again. And we are creating more redox molecules to deal with the sprays on our food, despite buying organic, and the mold in the wall and the asbestos and the car fuels and all of those other things, the radiation that we're walking around with in our pockets all day long. We need to keep up. So we do need more. Now, when there's synthetic things that we take in, we're at risk for taking in too much and it becoming a toxic level within the body. Sometimes that comes with other ingredients in there that the body then needs to filter out, put through the liver. And sometimes we need to break down those ingredients to make them usable by the body. So we're using up our energy to do that instead of using up our energy to heal. When we take more redox molecules, For glutathione in particular, the body's only going to create more to the extent that it needs. Healthy cells can create up to 40% more. So first of all, we could utilize more of the body's glutathione up to 800%. That's what we found out first in 2017. In the last 3 years, what we found out is that healthy cells will create up to 40% more glutathione on its own. It will create it on its own. That's so much better than synthetic being brought into the body. It's directly in the nucleus. So it is, and glutathione's our body's major antioxidant. So it is reducing inflammation. It's helping deoxidize cells, like when the apple turns brown on the counter, it's the lemon juice that takes it away, right? So we're creating that on its own. But when they gave those cells blockers, glutathione blockers, mimicking unhealthy cells, what they saw is that we were able to increase that 60 to 80% in unhealthy cells. So when those cells need extra help, they're going to create exactly what it needs. And at the same time of doing that, you're getting your cells to work better. You're absorbing more of your nutrients. Your brain feels better. It's breaking the blood-brain barrier. It's helping to balance hormones. It's helping cardiovascularly. It's not just creating more glutathione on the body. It fixes cells so the body can fix itself in all areas of health, really.
So, and I've seen a lot of this research, like there's a lot of research now done on this. And so why is it that we can't correlate, like we're not allowed to say, like, are the studies not conclusive enough, or is it because, well, this product that helps talk about, okay, so now we talked about the redox.
Right. We talked about redox, and if anybody's watching, they should absolutely feel free to ask questions. Happy to go back and answer anything. So there are very strict rules about what pharmaceuticals are allowed to claim and what supplements are allowed to claim. There's also different rules throughout different countries. So there are universities, there are biotech companies all across the world that are recreating redox signaling molecules. This one company, ASEA, where I just took that shot, that is the only company in the world that has been able to stabilize it so that it could be shipped and delivered. Every other place that makes it, within 10 minutes, it turns back into salt water. Salt water, unlike what's inside of our cells, when it was salt water that is identical to what's inside of our cells, because it's been made into redox signaling molecules. Now, if we start making claims that it can cure, and I'm not making claims, cure cancer, cure Hashimoto's disease, keep you from getting a stroke, then it falls into the category of a pharmaceutical. It will no longer be, it won't be able to be registered as a supplement anymore. And because we ship to 34 different countries, and they've passed all government requirements and all government testing for 34 countries, and some of them are quite difficult, like the UK, or even in Asia. So to be able to do that, they need to kind of keep things a little bit status quo. Also, the original investor, who's the founder, Virtus Norton, and his son Tyler Norton, they invested in this company. Virtus was 69 years old.
I was like, what is that? Our timer, 15
Is it
minutes.
our timer? Oh, can I move?
Let it go. Anybody else?
Oh my God.
Let it go. And what my teacher says is you kind of let your arms hang, dangle, and just kind of then brush the chi, the energy.
Oh, I should have worn a tank top, but it's cold here in Canada today. I should have worn a tank top, but we could have put some redox gold on.
There we go.
Muscle pain, but or muscle discomfort. But
I'm gonna take a shot as a reward for finishing.
I'll take one too. Okay. But so the founder was 69 years old, did not need more money. He was a Fortune 50 CEO for years and years, and he saw the potential of what this redox could do. And when they finally stabilized it, he gave it to a neighbor that had very few weeks left on this planet, and that neighbor started to get better. And then they gave it to other people and they started to get better. And they had about 140 people on the product when they brought it to the pharmaceutical industry to sell it, to get their money back and more, have generational wealth. Well, the pharmaceutical company in 3 hours said, this is absolutely incredible. Here's your deal. 3 hours it took them to look at the research and know that that was exactly what they were going to do. And they said, but nobody will ever drink it again. We have to bury it, because if people with all kinds of problems from all over their body can heal with this one little bottle, where's their money going to come from? Right? Like it was a big problem. So they said no. What was the original question?
Why, I guess, like why we can't make claims.
Why we can't make claims. Right. Okay. I got distracted being able to drop my arms again. So all of that to say, if it would be in the hands of the pharmaceutical industry, it would be distributed in very different ways. It would cost a lot more. There would be a lot more problems. So what we do is we keep very, very simple. We're empowering the body to heal itself. And research is showing, we have research that shows that C. elegans, which are different kinds of worms, I know not very vegan, but they were able to expand their life by 10% by giving them redox. We have so many studies done with these the glutathione studies. There's so much research and so much study done. We just keep it very basic. We don't make it towards specific ailments in the body. We keep it just towards cellular functioning. Did you take yours yet?
No, not yet.
Cheers. There's a website, it's called redoxscience.com. And that is, I don't know where it's coming from, but that's a collection of scientific articles from scientific journals, not blogs that your brother-in-law wrote from his basement. Those are being collected there. Oh my God, there's tons and tons. There's over 1,200 books on redox biochemistry. There's over 50,000 studies done. We have a lot of white studies done through ASEA itself, with all of these universities now that are reaching out. But if you understand what glutathione does in the body, or if you understand genetic expression and how there are on-off switches for them that get lazy and stop working properly. But when we can illuminate them again and get them working properly again, how things in the body can heal. When you understand the process behind it, you could understand in your mind how it can help these particular diseases. Yeah. But we don't all know all that information, and that's okay. Like, I don't know a lot about boats. I'm not really I understand that heavy things can float on water, but I can't explain to you how. I just know that it can. Yeah. And there are people who do know that it can. So I know a lot about redox, but I see the results on a daily basis. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we've been talking a lot about longevity, anti-aging, that now this show is called Evolution of Fitness. Mm-hmm. Do we know how it affects, from athletic standpoint? Is there anything?
Absolutely. So redox signaling molecules have a very, very big part in reducing muscle damage, promoting faster recovery, and improving overall endurance. And a lot of that research came from Dr. Neiman at the North Carolina Institute at the Appalachian State University. And it's funny because I'll speak to some personal trainers and they'll go whoa, he did the research. Mm-hmm. So, very well known. So what they saw a very long time ago, and more research has been built on this, is there's significant shifts in 43 metabolites. So what that means is the body is able to hold on to and actually produce more nutrient levels as it's exercising, right? Vitamin C levels can increase. So you have better energy and you're storing your nutrients better. We see people taking 8 ounces a day have increased VO2 max, right? So our cardiovascular and aerobic fitness. So for those people who don't know a lot about that, when you start walking up a mountain, talking with a friend, and you get short of breath, we can improve that by 12%. Burning ATP 6 to 8% more effectively. So that ATP is our energy. So if we could burn our energy more effectively, we can have much more endurance, less lactic acid buildup. There's a new product. So the Renew 28 is identical to what's inside the blue bottle. Just there's a gel. It's a gel form. So there's like a little clay and a stabilizer in there, and we could target specific areas. So for years, we would target if you had muscle discomfort, if your knees would bother you when you would work out, we could apply this before or after to help with that. In fact, do you know Cody Miller? He's an Olympic medalist, swimmer. So when he went to the doctor at the end of his season, they said to him, your knees are so bad that if you were a football player, you'd be out for a season. They're like, there is no cartilage here. He does the whip kick or whatever. And he's like, there's no cartilage here. Like, how are you possibly competing? He was using this over and over and over again. So what they did is the NFR2 specifically for glutathione production, reduction of inflammation, recovery of muscles. They took that one strain out of here and they concentrated it into Redox Gold. And I think it's really sexy. It has, for Sexy Fit Vegan, it's got 24 karat molecular gold in it. And that's a catalyst for getting it into the body faster and making it work even better. But there were thermographic studies done. If you go in with inflammation and hotness and redness, put this on 15 minutes later, every single participant in the first study, or all the studies actually, but in this first study that I have a picture for somewhere, they went from like blues and green, reds and pinks that were hot to blues and greens in 15 minutes. So we've seen huge differences with it. So for me, if I'm playing, I play sport. If I get injured, I put this on. But what I've realized is that if I put it on my knees and my ankles first, when I go to jump, it's a game a little bit like volleyball. When I go to jump, I didn't realize that things were bothering me until they didn't bother me. And it just felt so seamless and so easy. So there's so many different applications. And the amazing part is that it's WADA certified. So World Anti-Doping Association has its check of approval. Olympics has its stamp of approval, which is great. No doping, no toxicity. And again, it's empowering the body to make all these things on its own so that it really gets the job done.
All right. So I had given it to a client and they said, okay, the ingredients are water and sodium chloride. This is salt water. You're giving me salt water. Like, how do you respond to that? Because I don't know, you guys, I'm not the expert on redox. That's why I have brought Shoshana. I just know what happened with me. And once, again, not making claims, but I'm sharing that 9 months after I began taking it and having changed nothing else, I literally no longer had an autoimmune disorder that I was told was irreversible. So I am just sharing that once that happened with me and that I get to live with my own thyroid for the rest of my life and don't have to go down that road, I just feel called to share this information, and that's why I have Shoshana on. So yes, anyway, my point is I don't know really the answer to this. I just know that it worked for me. So yeah, how do you respond to that?
Okay. So let's say you have some mushrooms and some walnuts and you mix it with some liquid smoke and you bite into that burger and you go, that's so good. I can't believe that that's just walnuts and mushrooms, right? Mm-hmm. Or you have a bite of a piece of cake, and nobody looks at the cake and goes, this is just salt, fat and flour, right? Like, or sugar, salt, and flour. Like, nobody says that, but because we're not familiar with redox, we look at the ingredients and we go, it's just salt and water. It is. So is your intercellular fluid, right? But there's different makeups. You can't go in your kitchen and make this, right? You can't, we could spray this in the eyes and it will not burn, right? You live by the ocean, right? Like, you go in the ocean, you can't open up your eyes under the ocean. It will not burn. They take the most pristine salt water, right? They take all of the minerals even out of the salt. I always hesitate to use the word restructure because it's not restructured water. It's not like that. It's not your water for the day. But they take those atoms apart and put them together so that it's identical. If you go to the hospital and they give you saline, you wouldn't say, I'm not going to go to the hospital. I'm just going to stay at home and drink a glass of salt water. It's not going to do the same thing for you. Although we do sometimes need a little bit more salt in our diets, the right salt than we think. But all of that to say, there's so little salt in there. Also, there's in 4 ounces of this, there is enough to equal like 3 carrots or 1 slice of bread. It's really not a lot of salt. It's more about the structure of the atoms. Yeah.
Yeah, because it still tastes like, it kind of tastes like pool water to me.
It still tastes like pool water?
Still tastes a little like pool water, which means, right, like that I still got some
Still working on something. Yeah. So that's the olfactory reaction. So if we had 5 of us and we each drank from the same bottle, we wrote down on a paper, we'd probably say 3 different things, but there could be 5 different answers. Most people, when they first drink it, it tastes a little bit like pool water. There is no chlorine in it. Some people it just taste like salt water. To me, it tastes like clean, clear water. But if I'm getting my period, or I went to bed late last night, or I didn't eat so well the day before, it has to actually taste a little bit like nail polish remover to me on those days where I'm a little bit imbalanced. But at the beginning, it tastes like salt water. And then I had a couple of clients, but one in particular that said to me, it looks like water, it tastes like sewage, and it's as thick as mud. How is that possible? But that's not true.
Yeah.
That is the body's reaction to it. And what we like to say is it tastes as bad as your cells are. So if it still tastes, there's still deep down work that needs to get done. Yeah.
Fascinating. It's like really fascinating.
It's super cool. And it's super cool. And, some people say like it's a scientific breakthrough, and the redox molecules themselves, like, it's not, because it's made in the body already. The breakthrough is that somebody was able to stabilize it, or a CO was able to stabilize it so it could be shipped and delivered to your home. It could have a shelf life of 1.5 years without having preservatives in there. And you could open up a bottle and enjoy it for the month. And well, you need more than a month, but more than a bottle in a month. But once it's open, it's fine for a month, and you can completely benefit from it. That's huge. And it's just really about, what are your goals? What do you have going on in your body? How hard do you work out? How much do you weigh? How old you are? All of those, and like, what are your major goals, whether they're fitness or health? Then we create a dose. We create a protocol for you. We create a dose for you. There's patterns to it. And by using usually all 3 or at least 2 of these products together, we could start to really get people feeling different. I don't want to say better, because not everybody has a major problem. You know what somebody said to me the other day? I didn't really realize that I didn't feel great until I felt great.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. All right. So if somebody listening right now or watching is like, okay, I'm interested. What are the steps? Can you buy this online? What's the best way to go about it?
All right. So what I would probably say is the best thing to do is not buy it online, for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's actually illegal to sell it on Amazon. So anybody selling it there,
oh, really?
That's a problem in itself. So please don't support people who are not following the rules. I've actually set up, you could support this. I've set something up for you, so we could actually, help support this show, this podcast. But what's great about buying it from somebody who is that you will get guidance with it. And guidance is the best thing, because if you take it and you go, oh no, that tastes like pool water, I'm never drinking that again. You need it to be explained to you. If you sleep the best that you ever slept in your life, amazing. But if you don't sleep well and you're like, oh, I can't take that, it makes me not sleep well. It doesn't. It's bringing you backwards through some of the stages that you've been through. So we just need to adjust the time of day. So you need guidance with it. So please don't buy it online. But I'm happy to give a free consult to anybody who is interested. I do run little info sessions about it too, where I give a lot of information in a clear, concise order, and share some testimonials of other people as well. So I'm more than happy to help anybody. They could reach out. I think you'll put a link in the show notes. My personal email address is my name. You could see it there, shoshanachame@gmail.com. By all means, feel free. Just always let me know that you heard me here, and I'll take extra special good care of you.
Yay. Thank you so much. I know having you there to ask questions too, as we went through, what the dosage was, and we talked about budget, and, we took all the things into consideration. You were really, really good about walking me through all the steps. And I know you have for many of my clients as well done the same. So thank you for that. Thank you for all this fabulous information. Anybody watching this later, the recording, if you have questions, feel free to email Shoshana, or you can also put them in the comments down below, and we'll work on replying there as well. And yeah, I put the link to schedule a 30-minute free consult with you in the show notes. So check that out. Like I said, I'm just really passionate about sharing the things that have made a huge impact on my own health and well-being. And this is absolutely one of them. Even though I, no longer have an autoimmune disorder, I have been consistently taking this ever since, because my thought is, if this played a role in helping me with that, then who knows what it's helping prevent as I get older as well. And now with my ACL surgeries and all the other things that, I deal with.
Recovery there.
Recovery, yeah.
Detox of medications. Do you remember what you told me? I can't remember. I mean, some people need to wait like a good, 2, 3, 4 months before they get real significant changes, because this is a whole process happening underneath. But do you remember what you told me in the first 2 weeks about your boxing rounds?
Oh, right. Yes. I was so frustrated because, a 2-minute round with my coach hitting pads had gotten to this place where it was really hard for me to get through. I was like huffing and puffing, and 2 weeks after starting to use this, I would get through those 2 rounds like no problem. My coach was like, "What are you doing?" Because it was like I got myself back. I got my energy back, my stamina back, like all the things came back really quickly. And we put me on, like, I'm a pretty extreme person, so we put me on a pretty hefty dose the first. I was like, you know what, I'm going for it. I trust you. I know you're in this for all the right reasons, that you're here to help people get better, to feel better, to live longer, healthier lives. Like you said, like we've expanded our life, the amount of years we're living, but we have not kept up with the quality of life of those years. And for me, I'm always hesitant about the longevity thing, because I'm like, I don't care about living longer, honestly, as long as I'm living good years. So if that can be a long life, that I'm healthy and active and able to do all the things that I love, then yeah, keep me on the earth for 100 years, for 100, whatever, how many years.
Yeah. I read something this morning. It's just like a little, and I could tell you're trying to close out, but my brain. It said something like 40 to 60-year-olds look like they're 30 to 40-year-olds, but they feel like they're 90 to 100-year-olds. It should not have to be that way. Yeah.
I don't think it does. So thank you for your role. Thank you for being here. I so appreciate it. Thank you for those that you joined live, that are watching the recording later. And reach out, you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you get in all these episodes. We're doing having some great mind-blowing episodes coming up too. And we have the Evolution of Fitness Club on WhatsApp. As soon as we hit 100 members, we'll run our first fun fitness challenge. And like we said, if you want to explore these redox signaling molecules in this form, reach out, book a session with Shoshana. And Shoshana, I hope to see you in person again soon.
Yeah, I hope to see you soon. I'll see you in the WhatsApp group. And thank you so much for having me today.
Bye, everyone.